Keke has been trying to get me to do stuff forever. So she's like, there's no question. You're
Yeah.
doing it. So enjoy.
Hey everyone, I'm Anna Rumer with PopCulture, and today we have with us claim to fame winner and Keke Palmer's sister, LC Palmer. Welcome.
Hey, y'all. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here. Now that everyone knows that you are the ultimate claim to fame season one winner, how are you feeling?
Oh my gosh. Honestly, I really don't think that it's hit me yet. It hadn't hit me that night and it still hasn't hit me. Like, I don't know if or when it will ever hit me. I'm just kind of like in this whirlwind of just, wow.
Yeah. Look at where we are today.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, has Keke been watching the season? What does she think about you being the winner?
Oh my gosh. Yes, she has been watching. We actually watched the first episode that we could watch together because I've been in Chicago. She's
Mhm.
been in LA. So when I came back home, she and I watched together, and her commentary is so hilarious because she's just like, we're our whole family is really into reality in general.
Mhm.
So she like asking all these questions like, oh my gosh, look at you, you're being so sneaky, what was going through your head when you did this? So her commentary is like amazing.
Oh yeah, she's got great commentary. I feel like we
Yeah.
would pay to watch her watch
Yes.
you.
Yes.
So, going way back to the beginning, how did you even come to be on Claim to Fame?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So someone reached out to me, and not gonna lie, I thought it was some type of scam.
Yeah.
Because I'm so hidden and so far removed from Keke that it's just like, how did you even find me? Um and so when they did, and like I looked into it and I was like, okay, this is legit. I kind of just did this thing where like I went to Keke, I went to my mom, and I was like, what do you guys think? Like, should
Mhm.
I do? What do you guys think about this? And Keke has been trying to get me to do stuff forever. So she's like, there's no question. You're
Yeah.
doing it. So enjoy.
The decision was made for you.
Yes, exactly.
So going in, did you like have a strategy or were you just going to play it by ear?
Okay, so going in, I had this strategy of having a British accent, and I was like, that'll throw everyone off. They'll be like, who is she related to? And then when I realized that I was going to be in this house for weeks, I was like, there's no way. I was like, I'm going to wake up and talk like me and give myself away. So I was like, I can't do that. So I didn't really get a true strategy until like the final six. That's when a
Mhm.
strategy really formed. Before that, I was just winging it.
Yeah. I do wish we had gotten to see the British accent. That would have been like really iconic.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I really psyched myself out. I was like, there's no way I can keep this up for weeks. Like, no.
Yeah, that would be very, very difficult. So you probably made the
Yeah.
right call there. But you did. You had everyone fooled until almost the last minute. What was going through your mind as you're like, "Oh my God, everyone is not clocking me at all."
Oh my gosh, it's so funny to watch it back and really just see how clueless everyone was, because as it was playing out in real time, like I would hear the rumors about Lawrence
Mhm.
Fishburne, and I was like, this is great, let's keep this
Yeah.
going. Back of my mind, I'm always like, what if there's one person who knows it's not Lawrence Fishburne? You know,
Mhm.
what if that rumor is going around? And I was just like, I felt somewhat safe, but you never really feel safe because you're like, I personally knew that I had information that had confirmed stuff that other people didn't know. So I was like, if I can have information, others can have information too.
Yeah. I mean, and watching these people back and being like, "Oh my God, they're really not picking up on any of the clues."
Yeah.
Was that funny? Because I would be
Oh
cracking
my
up if
God.
I were you.
It was hilarious to me because I don't know if it's just because she's my sister, but my clues were always so extremely obvious.
Yeah.
And like every challenge, I was like, oh, I'm going home. I'm going home. And I really thought that with the bee costume, I was like,
Yeah.
well, it's been a great run. Like I just knew that was the end. So watching Dominique kind of tell everyone, like, yeah, guys, the bee is her clue, and it's because Lawrence Fishburne did the movie with Keke Palmer. I was like, this is great.
That was so good. I mean, You truly were so sneaky all the way to the end. That last challenge, what was going through your mind when you kind of had to spill the beans on Kiki's birth name?
Yeah. So that final challenge was a mix of two things. Like, number one, at that point, I think Pepper kind of knew that Logan and I were on to her. So
Hmm.
I knew that she had no incentive to do a dare. Like, she could just
Hmm.
tell the truth. And so I was like, I had to decide, do I want to keep it a secret and hope that they can't figure it out, or do I just want to go for it? And I ended up ultimately deciding to go for it after hearing my first question, because I realized even if I didn't say anything, these questions are kind of giving a lot away. Um,
Hmm.
well, it's like I have to collect the points because that's the only way I'm going to be able to do this is if I collect these points.
And you had to eat some bugs too.
Oh my God. Oh,
I felt so bad for you. How was that? Was it okay?
it was the worst thing ever in my life. Like, I
Oh,
cried before it even
no.
started. Like, as soon as they had this, you guys don't know this, but they had a smell. And like, when they put
Oh.
it in front of us, like Pepper and I were just so overwhelmed by the smell. And then I picked it up and I saw them there. I was like, there's no way I can do this. And I just started crying because I was like, I'm lost.
I would be the same way. I was like, oh my gosh, she deserves the money. Look at that.
Oh my, it was
So it
crazy.
comes down to you and Logan. You are not like a country person.
Mm.
How certain were you about the Jason Aldean guess, and why did you decide not to go with the guess of Luke Bryant? Was it? Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So I want to say 85% certain that
Mhm.
it was Jason Aldean. And the only reason I was so certain was because I know with my clue, the answer was Lauren Palmer, and the Palmer is in her stage name.
Right.
And I knew in Pepper's clue, it was Dino. And so I'm like, okay, so obviously Dino is Dean. So
Hmm.
I figured his clue also had to be in the name. And he said that his relative was Jason Williams. And
Hmm.
out of all the names that I had heard in the house, I had never heard anyone with the Williams, but I had heard Jason Aldean. So I
Hmm.
said that has to be it. I mean, I was just gonna wing it, and for a moment there, part of me wanted to have Pepper guess him off,
Yeah.
because I was like, what if I'm wrong? But then I ultimately was like, well, if I'm wrong, I have no one else, so
Right.
it
This
matter
is
anyway.
it.
Yeah.
So you go up there, you give your guess while you're waiting for the countdown. What is going through your mind?
Okay. So I said the name,
Hmm.
and immediately I just like time stops. Like, I see
Hmm.
the I see it moving, but I'm frozen. And like, even when the image came up, I still don't think it registered to me. I was just like, what is happening? Like,
You're like, am I right? What is
yeah,
that?
my time just froze.
Oh my gosh. I mean, it must have been insane to, after all those weeks of filming, to hear you are the winner. You did
Oh,
it. What was that moment like for you?
oh my gosh. Hearing all of that was just, it was so crazy to me because when I entered this competition, um, winning never even crossed my mind. I was just kind of like, you know what? I just want to go have a good time. And
Yeah.
I love reality so much. Like, this is so great. Like, I can, if, I can always say I was a part of a reality show. So this is just a cool experience. And I went in saying, okay, I don't want to be the first one. No one wants to be the first one to go home. And
Yeah.
so then I made it and I was like, okay, let's see if you can make it another night. And when I kept making it, it wasn't until like the final five where I really started thinking, like, maybe if you just work really hard, you could maybe win this.
Yeah.
And so to actually have that be the outcome was just so ridiculous, because in my wildest dreams, I never would have thought that I would win it.
You're like, I just don't want to be first out. And here you
Yeah,
are, the
that was
champion.
so, so crazy. Like, wow.
And what does winning mean to you?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So winning for me is just so crazy because like I recently divorced.
Mhm.
So I have three small children.
Mhm.
I am back in school. I
Mhm.
also want to start my own film production company. So it's just like, okay, great. Like things are falling into place because you kind of have like quote unquote pipe dreams and you're like, if I
Mhm.
ever have the opportunity, this is what I would do. And it's like now I have the opportunity. So I have to do all these things that I said I wanted because I never know when if I'll ever get this much money again. So I just
Yeah.
want to make it work. I want to make it count. So that's what I'm doing. All these things that I like going back to school,
Mhm.
thing what I have to do to start my own production company. These are all the things that this money is going to help me do. Things that I thought I wouldn't do for years from now.
Yeah, you're literally living out the hypothetical question, what would you do if someone handed you a giant check? That's awesome.
Exactly.
And so with your own film production company, what would you want to do? What would your concentration be? What's your passion there?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I fancy myself. My hero is Wes Craven, and so
Ooh.
I would love to follow in his footsteps and do horror movies. I love horror movies. My family loves horror movies. My kids love
Hmm.
horror movies. So that's what I want to do. And I want to focus on more so slashers. I feel like the traditional slasher, I haven't seen too many that I've loved. And so I kind of want to bring back those slashers of the 80s. Let's go with
Yes.
that.
Oh, 100%. That is so much fun. I love that. And would you bring Kiki in to star or be a background player in one of your films?
It's funny. She and I were actually talking about maybe writing some together and doing because,
That would be
like,
so
yeah,
fun.
loves horror too. Like, literally everyone in my family except for my mom. She's the only one who watches like this. But the rest of us, we love them. So it would be great for us to get to work on some together.
Absolutely. And you're both so funny too. I feel like that would add a really good back kind of,
Yeah.
yeah, I love that. Well, have you bought yourself anything really fun or have you done anything with $100,000 to really celebrate?
Honestly, no. And I will tell you why.
Mhm.
Because I am like the cheapest person ever. Like, I make money last.
Yeah.
So I don't think anyone will ever see me with like a cool purchase because I'm just like, oh no, this money could go somewhere else. So
Yeah. We love it. Very thrifty. I love that.
yes, very thrifty. So maybe I'll go and like splurge at a nice thrift store, perhaps. Who
Yes.
knows?
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for talking with me today. It was so much fun watching you on Claim to Fame. We are wishing you all the best luck, and I can't wait to see your movies one day.